For anyone who isn't familiar with the concept, a recursive translation is when something is taken from one language, translated to at least one more, and then converted back to the source language. The results can be quite interesting. Anyway, let's go.
Sweet and sour Chinese adventure. Takeaway. Bill and Ted want to play and rock and accidentally break a Chinese ship. To avoid trouble, the boys travel to ancient China in search of a replacement for their trusty time machine, where they also meet the famous Italian explorer Marco Polo. The birth of rock and roll, or too funky for the womb. With no understanding of music, Bill and Ted are given a classical music assignment, where they meet musical luminaries such as Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Richard Little. They also had problems with William Tell, the greatest archer in history. The most beautiful Roman holiday. Children take the Latin characters and make two of them into a rare ancient Roman coin. They end their journey in Latin America in 1450 and 44 BC. In Rome, they also saved Julius Caesar by killing him. Ted, T, writer. Ted will be taking lessons in his father's car. Later, Bill and Ted, Blue Betty, borrowed 5 wedges to buy a new Iron Girl CD, which accidentally crashed, catching him and Bill needing to help for a while. They also celebrated the first Thanksgiving and met pirate and ocean explorer Francis Drake, automobile pioneer Henry Ford, and the Wright brothers, inventors of airplanes. The more abominable, the worse the accident. Bill and Ted used their phone booth to find the most dangerous thief, suspected to be a thief from the Ambrosian school. They tried Henry VIII, the leader of Great Britain, the evil Russian Tsar, Ivan the Terrible, the defeated Jane the Cow, and the American lover Paul Revere. They also helped start the American Revolution, founded the Boston Tea Party, helped Benjamin Franklin invent electricity, and signed the American Declaration of Independence. Like a flock together, like a flock together. 2 of the buildings are an eccentric explorer named Mr. Sickler, and the cats eat their most prized possession, a rare bird called Prince Rupert III, leading them to find a replacement. They also helped polar explorer Richard E. Byrd fly to the South Pole, build the nose of the Sphinx, and help Dr. Henry Morton Stanley to help David Livingstone. San Dimas at night. A math teacher named Ms. Ver talks to Bill and Ted and threatens to fire them if they fail their homework. To attract larger audiences to the concerts, Joan and Elizabeth return to their old friends from 15th century England, but join Muslim leader Salah al-Din at the cross. A pocket full of wonders. It's Mr. Preston's birthday, and the boys have been using a telephone box to get presents. He had an old watch, but Mr. Preston finished it when he was 10. As the folk hero John Henry, the leader of the Swiss, Hannibal, and Queen Victoria of India. Ruth's baby is Naga. The boys are threatened with punishment for lunch and accidentally wash Carl Swissark's signed baseball, catching the attention of Babe Ruth, Harriet Tubman, and the famous vampire Count Dracula. When push comes to shove, Bill and Ted are history. Bill and Ted were sick of not getting applause after the 4th ending. The left band, which was disturbed by the weather, made Rufus look younger and younger. And Bill and Ted met the famous inventor Thomas Edison, the professional artist, designer, scientist, and inventor Leonardo da Vinci, the English chemist Joseph Priestley, and the greatest historians have met, the navigator Christopher Columbus. The 2 will never meet. Guys need to find someone to date or someone else. The first meeting with William Shakespeare, the greatest writer of all time, John Sutter, the golden author, and Mark Twain, the American commentator and funniest. One job, my work kingdom. Bill and Ted need to find work, so assignments to cook for Marie Antoinette's birthday. Help Spanish explorer Juan de Hornet find the lost city of gold. Help Lucrete Aunt Borgia. Help Basho Matsuo write haiku. Grimm's Fairy Tales from a book available. Ted is a story written by the Brothers Grimm that does not return to the library's most wanted list. He and Bill then race to find a copy of the book and meet the Brothers Grimm, George Washington, Tag V, Crockett, and Lady Godiva. Sometimes a museum, sometimes not. Venus Brokeback's guy broke his arm and punched a hole in the Mona Lisa. Anatomy of a physical education teacher. The children received new phone books but forgot their watch, won, and hesitated in the past to help the gym teacher lose weight. K-Style follows inside. Star Beach Banner. Missy's performance of the national anthem will take the Wilder Starlings back 14 years, so they'll be back in time to stop. Leave Bill and Ted. Kids use the new phone booth features to visit and participate in the imaginary world of Leave the Badger. Goodbye, Columbus and America. Tired of household chores, Bill and Ted decide to take a cruise to the New World. They change history and return to America unharmed. It's a block party. Brother Theodore Deacon is sick and watching the Thunder Slug. The boys happily object and take him to Mr. Carrot's apartment. They find out that Mr. Carrot plans to sweat it out and convince him to stay. Bill and Mark's wonderful babysitting adventures. The guitar is melting and the future is in danger when Bill and Ted get a new job in front of the battle band. Apple is not far from the phone booth. Ted's father decides to send him to a military school. Traveling back in time, the boys learn some training from their father Ted and change their minds.
It's all the same thing. Thank you for the registration question.